press down, get back in touch, right?
At any point, again, the PSC would possibly also be responsible for. So in this case, if I can, in botanical gardens, I don't know how far your reach is in terms of management there. For example, animals. People may complain, okay, we're not seeing enough animals, or how much involved can the PAC get where that is concerned?
Well, like I said, we do manage the botanical garden. We've been working last, I don't know, year or so. We've opened the botanical gardens, so bush and so on, and not very many people went out there. We formed that area in what we call the biodiversity gardens. So we've grouped 6 different ecosystems at the back of the botanical garden. So you have areas on the right hand side, along home stretch, where you have bush islands, and you have areas that resemble savanna. On the left hand side, you have areas that resemble mangrove. You have ponds. So you can see things like caiman, you can see monkeys, you can see toucans, sloths, owls, you name it, it's there. And we've done some crushed walkway, so it's easy for people to go into these spaces and access. And we're actually going to be putting up a couple of teaching benabs at the back there within the next year to open it out so that university students or schools can come in and actually have a practical in the middle of the city in a green space. So you don't have to spend money to go all the way up on the highway to do your practicals. You have that space right in Georgetown that you can do it, and it's a fantastic teaching space.
I'm happy that you talked about all of that here. I mean, apart from being on television programs like these, in terms of promoting and putting all of that out in the public, what is the position of the PAC? Are you yet in a position whereby this information will be fed to not only Georgia in general?
Well, it depends. Different messages for different areas, but we have a Facebook page for along the coast, as well as some of the hinterland that can add the internet. But we also have created things like a question and answer booklet on what are protected areas. You know, it explains in very simple terms, so that if it's a primary school student or a secondary school student or an accountant, whoever is picking up this document, it can actually read it and understand what protected areas are, where we're located, what are the types of protected areas, things like that. What we're trying to do is we're going to be launching a campaign called It's in Our Nature. All right, and what we're trying to do is get Guyanese to own the protected areas, own the idea that nature is ours. Everybody has an intrinsic right to breathe clean air, have access to clean water, right? In the protected areas and the urban spaces, the green spaces in Georgetown help, you know, for that physical well-being and that mental well-being. So we're trying to get Guyanese to own this, right? This is ours. Kite Falls, it's ours. You know, we have to be the guardians, the stewards of this, in order for people to enjoy these things in the future.
Okay. Forcing a decision, do you believe that as you're on the road to own theirs, that schools would be a good place to start pushing some of the information there?
I do, but children have amazing power.
Really?
They're incredible. The ones that are gonna go to their parents and say, "Mommy, did you know?" or "How can we do this?" And it's gonna drive that. Right, so in the zoos coming in and so young people, protected areas, as well as we talk to them about, you know, being kind to animals and things like that. A lot of people don't know that the zoo doesn't operate as a traditional zoo anymore. We operate mainly as a rescue center, right? A rescue and rehabilitation center. All of the animals in the zoo are all rescued animals. So they've been taken from abusive situations, or they've been relocated because they were going to be shot or something like that.
And I don't think Guyana knows that. Really.
Yeah.
Well, not, but I shouldn't say Guyana, but there are people who really truly don't know that if you don't work in this field.
Exactly. Right? So it's, you know, a lot of people might complain they don't zoo and so on. Okay, we have to make animals that are there, as well as the people, but we operate as a rescue center more so than a traditional.
I'd like to touch on one of the protected Shell Beach. What could possibly be this if Shell Beach is, or if it was the area?
Well, as you know, 4 species of marine turtles that know beach, right? And they only Shell Beach because it's in Guyana that you hit the substrate and so on. A lot of issues prior to it being declared a protected area, and we still with poaching of turtles and their eggs and so on. But what a lot of people don't know is that if a turtle, and an adult turtle comes up to lay eggs on Shell Beach, right, and every single egg hatches, one turtle from that entire batch has the potential to make it to adulthood.
Only one.
One turtle. So if she lays 150 eggs, the likelihood of one turtle, that's it. One turtle making it. So the more space that for these animals, their reproduction or continue with their life cycle, chance we give to the offspring, right, to go out into the ocean and come back as adults, right? We are the ones that are helping to perpetuate that system.
Okay. All right. I'm going to, because we're going to have to begin to wrap up soon, for our discussion soon. I want to give you an opportunity again to sort of sell protected areas in here. I mean, I asked specifically about Shell Beach, but I know there are other areas. You talked about the national park. You talk about the botanical gardens. What are we missing? I think you talked about
Kaichor, Kanuku Mountains, Iwakrama. What I'd like to say to people is support your protected areas. Support the work of the protected areas in whatever way that you can. Whether it's reporting to us if you see something happening, or providing us with technical support, or just any form of support that you can provide to your protected areas, because we all know the value of being able to get up in the morning and breathe clean air. For the people who live in the Rupununi to get up in the morning and look out their window and see, rolling savannas, mountains, clean air, right? Everybody deserves that, right? And the more support you give to the protected areas and the work of the protected areas, the longer we'll be able to continue to manage those resources, so that in 15 years you can still walk out of your door
and breathe in that clean air. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because that is like therapy to some of us. Right before we wrap up, Annalise, you did say that you're asking people if you see something, say something and report it. Have you had any situations where you've actually gotten reports that, look, this person is doing so, or this group of people is doing so and so, and how were you able to handle that?
Well, we do occasionally have instances, and we have rangers, very, very highly trained rangers. They're absolutely amazing. And they actually go on the ground and they do the ground truthing exercise. So they'll physically go to the location, take GPS coordinates if there is something that's happening. They'll take photographs or so on, and then we work along with sister agencies, whether it's the Coast Guard for Shell Beach and GDF, or GGMC for areas in the interior. We work along with other agencies as well as non-governmental agencies like Conservation International, WWF, people like that. And we try and come to an equitable solution for everyone.
All right, great. Miss Annalise Bayney, it was really wonderful chatting with you on this week's edition of Conversations in State, and I trust that this conversation really and truly helped the viewers to understand a little more what the Protected Areas Commission is all about. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much for having us.
All right, great. Of course, viewers, this would have been a conversation with Miss Annalise Bayney. She's the head of Department Public Communication and Outreach at the Protected Areas Commission. I am Malika Ramsey. Thank you so very much for joining us. And of course, this has been another edition of Conversations in State. Goodbye for now.